India and Pakistan were trading blows for a little bit. Yeah, like, Russia hasn't slowed down on anything.
He did end that.
He didn't end shit. They came to where does this myth come from that Trump is this master ender of anything?
Let me give my position. Okay, I'm not the average MAGA retard. Here's the thing: both nuclear powers, they knew they would destroy each other.
Yeah.
They need an intermediary to come in. He came in, convenient. I'm ending it. Took credit for it. Cool. That's my position. I think it would have ended anyway.
Sure.
Just that he was able to slide in and get the credit for it because, dude, they both have nukes. They would have cooked each other.
Everybody could have. They just, like you said, they need like an off ramp, right?
Yeah. They need an off ramp, and he was in a convenient position.
Trump's foreign policy, in my opinion, through all 5 years, has been a disaster. I don't know what foreign policy W's.
I think he's better than Biden, dude, and I think he would have done better than Kamala in this situation.
We were involved in less conflict with Biden. The wars that we were involved in were much more justified.
Two wars broke out, man.
Yeah, but they weren't our wars. And arguably, you can point to Trump at the very least for the Israeli one, right? Those Abraham Accords were a big fuck you to the Palestinians who've already been extricated from every other Arab supporter, right? Imagine you go from my allies are Syria, Jordan, all these other Arab states, and now it's fuck, my allies are the fucking Houthis.
The Abraham Accords,
the fucking.
I agree with you. I've mentioned a million times how the Abraham Accords was a part of it. But
it's pretty crazy to be we have peace in the Middle East, and then 2 years, 3 years later, it's oh shit, biggest terrorist attack all.
But it's also the occupation. It's also everything else that comes in. Dude, hell, even the red cows that they went and bought from Texas, that was a part of the reason why they attacked.
But I'm saying everything under Trump, he was gung ho with the Saudi Arabia drone striking fucking Yemen. He was cool with just ditching the Kurds in Syria. He didn't give a fuck about any of that.
That's like every president. Ditches the Kurds. We use them. Hey, fight the Muslims for us, and then we just leave them to dry.
The Kurds in Iraq are a bit happier now than they were under Saddam Hussein.
Oh yeah, they're super happy.
Yeah.
Israel's getting 80% of their oil from them.
He kicked the. he kicked us out of Afghanistan in the dumbest way possible. He basically went to.
No, that was Biden.
Well,
the one we left.
But it was on Trump's negotiated agreement. The Doha Accords agreement was him taking the Taliban, going to Qatar, Qatar, and then basically negotiating a full surrender without even the Afghanistan government being involved.
American foreign policy, I would say, over the past 20 years has been bad.
Policy has issues.
It's had problems.
I'm just saying that under Biden, we're the big stuff we're involved in is Ukraine and Israel. And
those both broke out under his watch.
Broke out is a very one-dimensional way of looking at time. But I'm just saying that those are the two conflicts we're involved in. Under Trump, it was 5 of them, and most of them were bullshit. We didn't need to be doing anything in Yemen with the Houthis. With the weird shit we were doing in Syria, this guy campaiged on we're gonna take their fucking oil.
So, I'll say this. So
the surrender in Afghanistan was a disaster.
So the significant conflicts broke out under Biden's administration, and I get what you're saying. Well, the Abraham Accords added to that. Well, the other thing too is that at least even though I'm critical of Trump for doing this, with the Iranians, he had them sanctioned, so they were broke, right? They didn't have the money to really be funding all the proxies like they did. So, Hamas wouldn't have had the same level of, okay, let's go ahead and attack them if they didn't have all the financial backing and a strong Iran behind them if Trump weren't. So I don't think October 7th would have happened under Trump.
I saw a lot of October 7th being videos. They were sophisticated. They weren't driving Humvees. They were fucking Toyota.
Of course. But what I'm saying is I don't they wouldn't have had a strong Iran to back them in that attack as the way that they did. And obviously with Hezbollah and everything else, because Hezbollah was shooting rockets into Israel on October 8th, right after.
But they had the third largest missile stockpile in the world. That wasn't just because of Iran.
Yeah. But they were emboldened because they were stronger. So my point is, I think, and you're going to disagree with me on this, I think Trump's foreign policy, though I'm very critical of it. I'm not a magatard. You know this. I still think it's better than Biden.
What's
and
one
Kamala
foreign
Harris.
policy W that he put in work for it, not fucking India.
Now the Congo and the Rwandans and shit like that. Yeah. Look, you're not going to look at it as a W, but I think the fact that he's even talking to Russia. No, I'm not going to say North Korea. No. But I think the fact that he's at least talking with Russia, at least he's talking with Putin. There's some semblance of mutual respect there to a degree. I do think that can at least the bridge is there. It's just about walking it. Well, he didn't even talk. He didn't even talk to the Biden administration. I think if Kamala were in, this would be even more cooked when it comes to Russia and Ukraine.
But you said mutual respect. Where is the evidence that Putin has any respect at all for Trump?
Yeah, so he actually left the meeting early to say, "Hey, I got to go talk to Trump." Literally, a couple days ago.
To go butter him up a little bit and then go bomb Ukraine 20 times harder the next day.
Again, no. But the point I'm trying to make is
Trump himself has truth out 15 times. These motherfuckers keep bombing Ukraine.
He did it in public. Again, I'm not saying it's fantastic, but what I am saying it's better than not having any talks at all, right? The step one to diplomacy is talking, and with the Biden administration and if Kamala Harris were in, they wouldn't even be talking.
Step one to humiliation is also talking, though, right? Like, it's a big W that Putin's like, I just talked to this fucking retard, and then I like did 10x more missile attacks the next day, and he didn't do fuck all about it. Like, that looks good for Putin, right?
Well, here's the other thing. Remember, we backed Ukraine when they did their drone strike on Russia. That was embarrassing for them, where we destroyed a bunch of their fighter jets. Remember that when Ukraine did the same thing that the Mossad did with Iran. It was like
we destroyed a bunch of their fighter. Wait, when?
Okay, so like I don't know if you heard about this story. A couple like a month ago.
I know about the drones.
When Ukraine was behind enemy lines and they were able to basically So that was embarrassing for Russia, right?
Sure.
And we obviously funded that. So like,
did we obviously fund it? I mean,
yeah, dude.
I think this was like a manpower attack. This wasn't like an ultra sophisticated technology attack. This was like a
no. It was sophisticated. They were behind enemy lines and they were able to launch the drones to go ahead and attack the planes.
I understand, but it was like
That's all our weapons, dude. All our shit.
It was drones. It wasn't like, these weren't like $1 billion. It was like a years-long project of like assembling stuff behind enemy lines, paying. I'm just saying it wasn't like, this was like a $5 million missile every time. It was like a true technology.
That's our intelligence. That's our, we're the ones telling them how to set up and everything. Like, dude, it's all us. Like the Ukrainians.
I don't believe that. I bet that right now.
CIA is 100% super involved in this conflict. Feeding them all kinds of intelligence.
I don't even know how much we could coach them in terms of, because the type of warfare that they're participating in has never been seen on the planet. Like all this drone back and forth and shit, they're probably getting like new methods and intelligence and ways to do this shit that like nobody's conceived of. I'm sure we're collecting data, but I don't know how hand in hand we are with them on everything.
Well, no, we're sharing, dude. We're literally, our CIA guys are over there. Like literally, the only difference is like it's not our guys that are operating, the weapons and shit like that. But in some cases where the Ukrainians don't know how to operate it, our guys are operating it. Like we're as close as you can be to the conflict without actually being in the conflict. And I think that's another big problem why diplomacy is failing, because it's like, well, you just launched an attack where you destroyed a bunch of my nuclear-capable fighter jets.
To be fair, they left when they did those attacks. Those are the only planes they left alone. They didn't attack the nuclear-capable ones explicitly, which was interesting.
No, they did attack a couple.
They didn't. They left just those planes alone, because there's a lot of theorizing and speculating on why they did it. And the idea is that they're
because all the outlets I looked at, they said they destroyed the nuclear capable ones, man.
I mean, we can fact check, put it on screen,
and that's fine. It's not that big a deal. But like I'd like to to see where you saw that. But like
like Russia would understand us helping Ukraine because it's all in our interest. Like we all know what we're doing. We have to be like when Iran bombs a U.S. base in Qatar, right? They said that we completely and totally obliterated that, and we know they didn't. And we'll make a little statement, but we're not going to sit here and lord it over them because they need to have that win. They need to have that to maintain their legitimacy as a regime, right?
Notified us, right? It's not real.
2 hours before, Anytime people are evacuating beforehand, right? It's like when Putin says, we're gonna do shit, and like people are freaking out because nukes are moving around. It's like, well, they're doing it above ground. We can see everything. Like that's good. That's okay for us,
I still think that though this is bad, don't get it twisted. I think like what we got going on with Russia, Ukraine, and the fact that they're trying to push this bill through is an L. I still think it's head and shoulders above anything Kamala Harris would have been able to do or what the Biden administration was doing, because at least they're talking. Yes, it's not going as well as we want. Obviously, Trump is visibly frustrated, but step one with diplomacy is talking. The Biden administration wasn't even talking.
If in 3 years nothing gets resolved,
then I owe you a beer.
Okay. All right.
Then I owe you a beer.
You said you're not a fan of the big, beautiful bill?
It's a hard world to be in. Now you know how we felt defending Biden, okay? Yeah, it's awkward being a man, right? Then I go to these Trump debates and I'm like, what do we got in the what's Politico reporting today? And then the Trump guy's like, oh boy.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So okay. Look, with every bill, there's because it's so goddamn big, like you can't agree or like everything with it. Obviously I'm pro immigration, right? No, not pro immigration enforcement, excuse me. So I do think that, the deportations is a good thing. You might disagree with me on that. I don't know if you want to, what your position is on that.
My big issue when it comes to stuff is that, like, regardless of what you feel, Trump is politically fucking retarded. Like, he picks way too many fights. He can't focus on anything. He doesn't know how to get, like, PR wins. The big issue that I have is that when the left like fights against him, like ICE is important, like a border is important, having like an actual immigration policy where we know who's in the country, like these are important things. And because
that's so progressive, like he believes in immigration, like immigration
is so fucking unhinged. Like I see where people are coming from when they're like abolish ICE and shit. Like it's pretty crazy that there are kids drowning in Texas, and then there are like horses like walking through MacArthur Park in fucking LA as a show of. And it's like, what the fuck? This is the gayest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. What are we doing right now? These guys are kitted out in like body armor. There's like they're Ukrainians in ditches that see how our like feds are equipped, like doing nothing in California. Like what the fuck? Yeah. So I think there is a good conversation we had about immigration, and I think pushed on even.
Do you want to go into immigration? It's up to you.
We could, but I think that whole conversation is even further away now after the unhinged shit that Trump has done everywhere. Like I think it's like fucked for a while now.
Okay, so my position is I think he's actually fairly good on immigration. I don't like what he's doing with the anti-Semitism bills, like deporting fucking college students. I think that's retarded. But the stronger border, obviously we know that illegal entries are down like something wild, like 90% or whatever. But I do think in the whole, though I'm critical of the deporting of college students, because I think those resources could be better allocated to actually going after illegal aliens. I think in general, enforcing immigration is a good thing, something that we haven't done for a very long time. And outside of people say, oh, well, Obama, did a bunch of deportations. Yeah, like catching people at the border and releasing them are two different things. It's not the same as like interior action enforcement.
Yeah.
And when it comes to like interior enforcement, that is where Trump like shines compared to other places.
I guess, yeah.
Other politicians.
Hopefully they don't listen to this podcast at all. But like, I think that Trump could have gotten the easiest W's in the world by going to sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, and just sending the feds into like prisons, state prisons, and being like, we're going to do paperwork check on everybody, and we're going to, dump these guys out. They could have gotten a lot of deportations. It would have been probably cheap. Like compared to what they're doing now.
Well, the problem with the sanctuary cities is they don't even and I can tell you this from like my professional experience, bro, they don't even honor the detainers. Like I remember when I was on a job, someone would be illegal. Hey, I want you to hold this person for us. They let them go.
For sure. But that's why I'm saying going to prisons where people already arrested and shit, and then start doing like background checks there. I'm just saying it would have been cheaper than what they're doing now. It would have been really hard.
But they reserve the right to tell the feds you're not coming in here. Like that's how bad it was
Supremacy, I don't know.
That's how bad it was getting.
Literally there for like deportation related stuff. Even if they did say that, in my mind, it would still be a W, because Trump could very easily say, we're just trying to go into a prison. We just want to deport the felons, the violent criminals, and they're harboring them. Because now we can't say we just want people to be able to work and be happy and take care of their families.
Kind of like,
but when you're running around like raiding like fucking Home Depots and deporting like people to fucking El Salvador, like the fuck, like he's like picking the most evil shit to make everybody fucking hate him for no reason. And it's like,
well, that's the thing with immigration, right? You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, yeah, you're gonna go after people that are just like hardworking in here, but they're here illegally, man. And this has been a long time that we've been kind of being like compassionate, like, oh my God, we don't want to be offensive, but it's like they got to get removed. And like when it comes to the thing with the state, so there's this myth, right? Like, oh, the feds can trump the state or whatever. State law enforcement actually has far more authority than people think, and they can literally tell you, go pound sand, you're not walking in this fucking jail, and you can't go in there and be like, well, you need to let me in. Like, no, the feds don't have as much authority as people think. Like
they might not, but the thing is that like in matters of border enforcement, this is where the executive is at its peak when it comes to power and enforcement and everything.
Yes, on the border they have way more power, but here's the thing, I'm talking about interior enforcement.
No, I understand, but I'm saying you could probably make like immigration related arguments when it comes to like state prisons and stuff. I'm sure that they could make the argument, or they could set up the same way they do for state courthouses, where they just wait outside the courthouse, and when a motherfucker comes out.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode.